All right, still working on the sprayer project here. We made some progress. Just show you what I've done and where we're going from here. So I got the tank mounted. Here are the brackets that I made down here. And this bracket was one that was on that tank. It was a kind of squared bracket because that tank is a little bit more square than this one, but I was able to tighten it down. I did get some pieces of rubber matting that I put, stall matting, that I put around this for two reasons. One was just to cushion the tank a little bit, and two, because I made a small mistake. It was very difficult to figure out how long these brackets that I made needed to be, and they ended up being a little bit too long. So rather than have to kind of cut them down and do it over, that was another thing that these pieces of matting helped do. They took up some of the slack. So the tank is good and tight on there now. Let's see, back in the back here, we have a bracket down here that attaches it to the frame of the sprayer. But I'm going to do one other tank support here in the front. Sorry for all the walking back and forth, but it still has just a little bit of wiggle to it. So I cut this 1.5 by 1.5 inch square tube. I painted it up. The color is pretty close. It's a little darker than what the original gray, I don't know if you can see on camera, that's the original gray there, and then that was the gray that I painted. But I'm going to slide this back in here. I am not left-handed. I'm going to slide that back in there, and I'm going to weld it to that bracket there and weld it, I believe, we'll see how it sits, but I may weld it to these brackets too. But this is basically going to support the front of the tank just to keep it from rocking around. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm going to get the welder going, and I'm going to weld that bar on the back side of here. And like I said, then we'll see from there if I need to weld it to there. But that should be the last thing I have to do to get the tank mounted. And then from there, it's just a matter of doing the plumbing. I mean, this line I never unhooked. It just goes to the booms. Plenty of slack there. So before I can do the plumbing, though, my kids were down here the other day when I was working, and I don't know if you can see, they managed to get sand and dirt in my tank. So I'm going to try and take this over and rinse it out good with the hose before I put all the plumbing pieces down there. So what can you do? So all right, I'm going to get that welded, and I'll get back to you on the next step. Okay, so we got this welded on. I did end up tacking it there, of course, there, and there. And I touched up some paint, so this is nice and solid now. We don't have to worry about that. So on to the plumbing. All right, sprayer's pretty much done. You can see it behind me here. Booms are out. I just double checked to make sure that none of the little sprayer housings are cracked or anything's leaking there. So the boom is good. I'll show you real quick what I did here to finish up. Sorry about the wind. I don't know if it's going to be bugging you guys, but I got my new PTO pump on here. It works perfectly. I did have one leak. I put an inline strainer right here. I'm not happy with this installation. I really need to build a bracket for it. I just didn't have time to do it right now. So for now, I mean, it's tight on there just with the hose clamps, but I'm gonna build a nice bracket that cut a hole and actually drop the strainer down into a piece of sheet metal. But again, just didn't have time to do that. And then we go back to here. There is a shutoff valve coming out this side. And then on that side, you can see there's another elbow that goes up and around. That goes up to this valve body here. I'm going to walk all the way around these booms here, and I'll show you. Okay, so these two hoses, this one goes to the boom, and then this one goes down around where we were just discussing. That comes up to here. So with this adjustment here, if you back it all the way off to decrease the pressure, it will just circulate the liquid, kind of mixes it up. So that's where that one goes. And then of course we have our one that goes down to the PTO pump. So that pump will put out plenty of pressure for me. I actually had to back off the pressure on the adjustment valve here pretty much as far as it would go, and then at that point I was able to, at about 1700 RPM, which was only about 400 and some PTO RPM, but I was running then at 40 PSI, which is where I need to be for the nozzles and the amount of liquid per acre and stuff, that, you know, that calculation. Right now it's not sitting level on the tractor because I didn't adjust it. I'm actually going to take it off and put it away. I don't need it quite yet, but I wanted to get this done. So I think that's about everything I wanted to kind of show you. So pretty simple process. You can kind of see my brackets here, how the ones I made are a slightly different color, but you know, that was the paint I had, so it matches good enough. And then of course our bracket across the front here that we welded on, everything's nice and solid. So I think it's going to work out well. Saved me quite a bit of money this year. I was going to buy another sprayer, a bigger sprayer. I just didn't want any more payments this year, and trying to find something decent. You know, I really wanted a 200 or 300 gallon. This is only the 150, but I didn't want to put a bigger tank on this frame. I think this will be fine on here, but as you can see, the way it fits in here, you really couldn't go any wider diameter wise. You probably could have put a longer tank on, you know, wider this way, but even then you're starting to push it because you've got brackets here for the springs. We have a little bit of space there and just a little space there. So I really think that's about the biggest size tank you can put on the frame that I had already comfortably. So that'll get me through this year. And I don't have a lot of spraying to do this year. I don't have to spray all of my hay fields for weeds every single year. As long as we can keep up with fertilizing and the lime program, that pretty much chokes most of them out. I mean, you get some annual stuff, but that disappears after first cut. So we don't have heavy weed problems in most of my fields. There are some I'm going to have to do this year, which is why I wanted to make sure I had something good put together so that I could do that, but I don't have to do all my acreage. I don't know that I'd want to have to do all my acreage with this. It would probably take me a week, but anyway, so there it is. Any questions, comments, leave them down below, and I hope maybe this will help somebody if they want to do a little upgrade to their sprayer, or maybe just put a new tank or new pump on there. I mean, it really wasn't a how-to video, but again, you know, I'm here to help. So if you have any questions about what I did, or you want to do something similar, leave them down below. Happy to help you out. And that will end it for this short series. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing just something else going on here. Leave your comments down below. Thumbs up, please. Hit the subscribe button. We're getting so close to 1,000. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed and sticks with the channel, leaves me comments. I really do appreciate that. It's been a long road, and we're almost to 1,000. So thanks everybody, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.